The door says staff only, and I push through it because my feet are killing me, and I need 60 seconds, where no one asks me for champagne. 3 hours into the Kessler Foundation gala, and I've smiled so much my face aches. I've carried 14 trays. I've been called sweetheart by 3 different men who could buy the building I live in, and one of them snapped his fingers at me like I was a dog. 60 seconds. That's all I need. 60 seconds of cold air and silence, and not being invisible. The stairwell is narrow and industrial, bare concrete, flickering fluorescent light, the kind of space rich people never see because it keeps the machinery of their comfort hidden. I climb 2 flights and push through another door, and suddenly I'm on the roof. The city is staggering from up here. 42 floors of nothing but sky and glass and light. The October wind hits me like a wall, and I suck in a breath so deep my ribs ache. Below me, the gala hums through the floor. Bass and laughter and the clink of glasses that cost more than my weekly grocery budget. I almost turn back. I almost do. But then I see him. He's at the far edge of the rooftop, near the railing, and he's on his knees. Not casually. Not like he dropped something. He's on his knees the way people are when something inside them has broken, and their legs can't hold the weight anymore. I know who he is. Everyone knows who he is. Caleb Morrow, founder and CEO of Morrow Technologies, 34 years old, net worth somewhere north of 11 billion. His face has been on the cover of Time, Wired, Forbes. He spoke at the gala tonight. I watched from behind the bar as he commanded the room with a voice so steady you'd think he'd never doubted anything in his life. He doesn't look steady now. His suit jacket is on the concrete beside him. His shirt sleeves are pushed up. His head is bowed, and his shoulders are shaking. And in his hands, pressed against his forehead like a prayer, is something small. A photograph. Or a card. I can't tell from here. He's crying. Not the performative kind. Not the kind you do when you know someone's watching. This is the kind that comes from somewhere deep and animal and private. The kind that tears itself out of you when you think no one in the world can see. But I can see. I stand in the doorway, frozen, my hand still on the metal handle, and I watch the most powerful man in the city fall apart, on a rooftop 42 stories above the world that worships him. I should leave. I know I should leave. This is not mine to witness. This is not mine to carry. My shoe scrapes the concrete. His head snaps up. For one horrible, endless second, we stare at each other across the rooftop. His eyes are red. His face is wrecked. And the expression that crosses it when he sees me isn't shame or anger. It's something worse. It's terror. I stumble backward through the door. It slams shut. I run down the stairwell so fast I nearly twist my ankle. And I don't stop until I'm back in the kitchen, with the noise and the heat and the clatter of plates. And I stand at my station with my heart trying to break through my ribs, and I think, I didn't see that. I didn't see anything. But I did. And by the next morning, he knows it, too. My apartment is on the 4th floor of a building that hasn't been updated since the Reagan administration. The elevator hasn't worked in 3 months. The radiator makes us sound like a dying animal every 40 minutes. I love it because it's mine, and because the rent is what I can afford on a non-profit salary of almost nothing. I run the Bridgewater Initiative. We provide after-school programs, tutoring, art, music, mentorship for kids in underserved neighborhoods. I founded it 4 years ago with my savings and a grant from the city that barely covered the lease on our building. We serve 200 kids. We need to serve 1,000. We need funding that doesn't exist. The grant application on my kitchen table is the one that could change everything. The Kessler Foundation grant. $300,000. Renewable for 3 years. Enough to expand into 2 new neighborhoods, hire real staff, maybe finally pay myself a salary that doesn't require me to choose between groceries and gas. The application is due in 2 weeks. It's not ready. It's not even close. I'm staring at it at 7:15 a.m. with coffee that tastes like despair when someone knocks on my door. Nobody knocks on my door at 7:15 a.m. Nobody knocks on my door at any hour, actually. Because the only people who visit are Mara and my landlord. And Mara texts first, and my landlord only comes when something's broken. Which is always. I open the door. 2 men in suits. Not cheap suits. Not department store suits. The kind of suits that are fitted by someone whose name you'd recognize. Behind them, in the hallway, standing like he owns the building. Which, for all I know, he's already purchased between last night and now, is Caleb Morrow. He looks nothing like the man on the rooftop. The wreckage is gone. His face is composed, clean-shaven, his dark hair immaculate. He's wearing a charcoal suit with no tie, the top button of his shirt undone in a way that's supposed to look casual, but is clearly calculated. His eyes, dark brown, almost black, fix on mine with an intensity that makes me want to close the door. "Miss Adler," he says, not a question. "How do you know my name? You were wearing a catering badge last night. Nora Adler, Bridgewater Initiative. It took my team approximately 11 minutes to find you. Your team. May I come in?" "No." He looks at my door, at the peeling paint, at the hallway with its stained carpet and buzzing fluorescent light. He doesn't react. No disgust. No pity. Just assessment. "Then I'll be brief. You saw something last night that I need to discuss with you." "I didn't see anything." "Miss Adler. I opened a door. I saw a rooftop. I left. That's it." He studies me for a long moment. Something flickers in his expression. Surprise, maybe, or curiosity, like he expected me to play this differently. "You haven't told anyone," he says. "There's nothing to tell. And you haven't contacted any media outlets. Why would I stop. The realization hits me like cold water. You think I'm going to sell a story about you? I think people have sold stories for far less. I'm not people. Everyone is people, Miss Adler. I should close the door. I should close the door and go back to my terrible coffee and my grant application and forget that Caleb Morrow exists. Instead, I say, "What do you want?" He reaches into his jacket and pulls out a black folder. He holds it out to me. "A proposal," he says. "One I think you'll find interesting." I don't open the folder until he leaves. I make him leave first, him and his 2 suited shadows. And then I sit on my kitchen floor because my legs feel shaky, and I open it. It's not a threat. It's not a bribe. It's something more dangerous than either. It's a job offer. Personal assistant to the CEO. 1-month contract. Full access to his schedule, his office, his inner circle. Compensation, $200,000. And at the bottom, in a separate clause highlighted in blue, upon completion of the contract, Morrow Technologies will provide a $500,000 grant to the Bridgewater Initiative, renewable annually, for 5 years. $500,000 a year. For 5 years. That's not a grant. That's a lifeline. That's 200 more kids. That's a real building. That staff and supplies and programs I've been dreaming about since I started this thing in my living room, with donated textbooks and borrowed folding chairs. All I have to do is spend 1 month next to a man whose secret I accidentally witnessed, pretending I don't know he's human. I call Mara. "Don't do it," she says immediately. "You haven't even heard. Billionaire wants you close after you saw something you shouldn't have. That's the opening of a true crime podcast, Nora. Not a job offer. It's $500,000 a year for the initiative." Silence. Then, "Okay, do it. But if you disappear, I'm going straight to the FBI. Your support is overwhelming. I'm buying you pepper spray. Non-negotiable." His office is on the 47th floor of the Morrow Technologies Tower, and it's terrifying. Not because it's opulent, though it is. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. A desk that looks like it was carved from a single piece of black walnut. Art on the walls that I'm fairly certain belongs in a museum. It's terrifying because of the silence. The entire floor is hushed. People move through the corridors in expensive shoes and speak in murmurs. Everyone looks like they're performing competence. Nobody laughs. My desk is in an anteroom outside his office. Glass walls. I can see him at all times. He can see me at all times. Whether this is for his benefit or mine, I can't tell. "Your responsibilities are in the binder," says his chief of staff, a razor-sharp woman named Diana, who looks at me like I'm a stain on her organizational chart. Schedule management, correspondence filtering, meeting preparation. Mr. Morrow's time is the most valuable resource this company possesses. Treat it accordingly. Got it. You'll sign an NDA before the end of the day. Already signed one. You'll sign another one. I sign another one. The first week is a blur of schedules, meetings, phone calls, and the growing realization that Caleb Morrow does not sleep. His calendar starts at 5 a.m. and doesn't end. He takes calls during meals. He reviews documents during the 6 minutes between meetings. He has a way of looking at people, investors, board members, engineers, that makes them straighten their posture and speak faster, as if his attention is a timer counting down. He barely speaks to me. Instructions come through Diana, or through terse emails, or through post-it notes left on my desk in handwriting so precise it looks machine-generated. Cancel the 3 p.m. Move Thursday's board call to Friday. Coffee, black. No conversation. That last one makes me laugh, which I try to hide, and fail. And when I look up, he's watching me through the glass wall with an expression I can't decode. By the second week, the distance starts to crack. It happens in small ways. He holds the elevator for me one morning, a tiny gesture that Diana tells me he has never done for anyone. He starts leaving my coffee on my desk before I arrive, which means he's arriving before me, which means he's arriving before 6 a.m. One afternoon, I'm reorganizing his calendar when I notice a recurring blocked hour every Tuesday and Thursday evening. No label, no location, just a red block from 6 to 7 p.m., marked personal. "Don't touch those," Diana says when she sees me looking. I wasn't going to. Good. Nobody asks about those. Ever. So naturally, I think about them constantly. One evening, working late, I hear his voice through the glass. He's on a call, speakerphone, which he never uses, and his tone is different. Softer. Patient in a way I've never heard from him. "And then what happened with the dinosaur?" he says. A child's voice comes through the speaker. Small, bright, excited. "He ate all the broccoli, Daddy. Even the stems." "Even the stems?" That's very brave. Daddy, when are you coming to my house? The silence that follows is the longest 3 seconds of my life. I watch through the glass as he presses his hand over his eyes. When he speaks, his voice is steady. Perfectly steady. But I can see his knuckles are white. Soon, sweetheart. I promise. He hangs up. He sits in the dark for a long time. I pretend I didn't hear. I pretend I'm not sitting at my desk with tears running down my face for a man I'm supposed to be professionally indifferent to. I fail at that, too. The cracks get wider in week 3. He starts talking to me. Not about work. Or not only about work. He asks about the initiative. At first, it feels like interrogation. How many kids? What neighborhoods? What's your retention rate? What's the cost per student? He asks questions with the precision of a man evaluating an acquisition. But then the questions change. He asks why I started it. He asks about the kids by name. I'd mentioned a few in passing. And he remembered. He asks what keeps me up at night. And I tell him the truth. That I'm terrified we'll lose funding, and I'll have to look 200 kids in the eye, and tell them the one place that believed in them is closing. He's quiet for a long time after that. That won't happen, he says. You can't promise that. I can. And I am. There's something in his voice, a fierceness, a certainty, that goes beyond corporate philanthropy. This is personal to him. I can feel it. Why do you care, I ask, about the initiative, about any of this? You could have just paid me off and forgotten about me. He turns to the window. The city stretches below us, glittering and indifferent. Because I grew up in a building like the one you work in, he says. 3 rooms, mold in the bathroom. A mother who worked 2 jobs and still couldn't keep the heat on in January. I stare at him. The billionaire. The magazine cover. The man the world thinks was born in a boardroom. Nobody knows that, I say. Nobody needs to. But you're telling me. He looks at me. That look, the one I can't decode, is back. Except now I think I can. It's not calculation. It's not suspicion. It's trust. Fragile, terrified, brand new trust. You saw me at my worst, he says. On that rooftop. You saw me at the one moment I couldn't hold it together. And you didn't sell it. You didn't use it. You didn't even tell your friend. I told Mara. A flicker of a smile. You told Mara. But you didn't tell the world. Do you know how rare that is? In my life. Do you know how many people would have taken that moment and turned it into a headline? I'm not interested in your headlines. I know, he says. That's why I'm telling you things I've never told anyone. The silence between us feels different now. Not tense, not adversarial. It feels like standing at the edge of something high, and looking down, and knowing that if you jump, you'll either fly or fall, and not caring which. Tuesday evening, week 3. I'm working late, or pretending to work late, when I hear him leave his office. He doesn't go to the elevator. He goes to the private stairwell. I should stay at my desk. I should absolutely stay at my desk. I follow him. He goes up, past the executive floors, past the mechanical level, up to the roof. The same roof where this started. He pushes through the door, and I catch it before it closes, and I step out into the October night. He's standing at the railing, not on his knees this time, just standing, looking out at the city. In his hand is the same thing I saw that first night. Not a photograph. I can see now. It's a drawing. A child's drawing. Crayon on construction paper. You followed me, he says without turning around. You left the door unlocked. Maybe that was intentional. I walk to the railing and stand beside him. The wind is sharp. The city roars below us, muted by distance. Tell me, I say. He's quiet for so long I think he won't. Then he hands me the drawing. It's a house. A yellow house with a red door and 2 stick figures. One big, one small, holding hands in front of it. In wobbly, careful letters across the top. Daddy and me. Her name is Lily, he says. She's 6. She lives with her mother in Connecticut. I see her every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. video call. That's what the custody agreement allows. My throat tightens. Her mother, my ex-wife, has primary custody. She's a good mother. I'm not. I don't contest that. But the agreement limits my contact because of my work schedule, and the truth is... He stops, swallows. The truth is that I was not a good father when I had the chance. I was building this. He gestures at the tower beneath us. I was building all of this. And I missed her first steps, and her first words, and her first day of school. And by the time I looked up from the screens, she was 4 years old, and I was a stranger who called on the phone sometimes. The rooftop, I say. That night at the gala. That's what I saw. It was her birthday. She turned 6. Her mother sent me a video. She was blowing out candles, and someone asked her to make a wish, and she said... His voice breaks. She said she wished her daddy would come home. The wind howls between us. I press my hand against the railing until the cold bites into my palm because I need something to anchor me. And you came up here. And I came up here. Because I couldn't fall apart in a room full of people who think I'm invincible. And I couldn't fall apart in my office where there are cameras. And I couldn't... Caleb. He looks at me. His eyes are bright. Not crying. Not yet. But close. Held together by nothing but willpower and pride. You're not a stranger to her, I say. You call her twice a week. Every single week. You keep her drawings. You carry them with you to galas and rooftops, and it's not enough. Then fight for more. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. It is exactly that simple. You built an $11 billion company from nothing. You can fight for your daughter. Something shifts in his face. The armor doesn't come back. Instead, something else rises. Something raw and determined and new. You don't say what people expect you to say, he murmurs. You don't do what I expected you to do. We stand there, the city beneath us, the wind between us, and something else, something nameless, something terrifying, something that feels like the beginning of a free fall. He reaches over and takes my hand. Not dramatically, not with a speech. He just folds his fingers around mine, and I let him. And we stand on the roof where everything started, and we don't say a word. We don't need to. Everything changes after the rooftop. Everything changes and nothing changes. He's still precise and controlled in the office, still terse in meetings, still the Caleb Morrow the world expects. But with me, the mask is gone. He tells me about Lily, about the painting she made him of a dinosaur that he has framed in his penthouse, about how she calls him Daddy Phone because that's all he's ever been, a voice on a screen, about how she asks every time if this is the call where he's going to say he's coming home. I tell him about the initiative, about Marcus, who came to us reading 2 grades below level, and now writes poetry, about Destiny, who was living in a shelter and got a full scholarship to a prep school through our mentorship program. About the nights I lie awake wondering if I'm doing enough, if any of it matters. It matters, he says. We're in his office. the city a constellation below us. It's after midnight. We've been talking for 3 hours. You know it matters. Knowing and feeling aren't the same thing. No, he says quietly. They're not. He's looking at me the way he looked at the city from the rooftop, like he's seeing something vast and terrifying and beautiful, and he doesn't know whether to run toward it or away from it. Caleb, don't. Don't what? Don't look at me like that. Because if you look at me like that, I'm going to do something I shouldn't do, and then everything gets complicated. Everything's already complicated. More complicated then. Maybe I don't care about complicated. He stands, crosses the distance between us in 2 strides. He's close enough that I can see the gold flecks in his dark eyes, close enough that I can feel the heat coming off him, close enough that when he speaks, his breath brushes my lips. I haven't let anyone this close in 4 years, he says. Since the divorce. Since Lily. I built walls so thick I forgot there was anything behind them. And then you opened a door on a rooftop. And you saw through all of it in 3 seconds. And I have been completely, certifiably terrified of you ever since. I laugh. I can't help it. Terrified of me? You have no idea. Diana thinks I'm losing my mind. My board thinks I'm distracted. My therapist thinks... He pauses. My therapist thinks I'm in love with you. The word detonates between us. And what do you think? I whisper. I think my therapist is annoyingly correct about most things. I grab his tie, the one day he's wearing a tie, and pull him down to me. The kiss is nothing like I imagined. It's not careful. It's not tentative. It's a collision. His hands find my waist, my back, the curve of my jaw. I pull him closer by his tie and he makes a sound against my mouth that undoes me. The city watches through the glass walls, and neither of us cares. We break apart. He presses his forehead to mine. This changes everything, he says. I know. The contract. The NDA. People will say. I don't care what people say. Nora. He says my name like he's memorizing it. I need you to know something. The rooftop. The real secret. It's not just Lily. There's more. Things I haven't told you. Things about the company. About why I really brought you here. Something cold touches the base of my spine. What do you mean? Not tonight. I'll tell you everything. But not tonight. Tonight I just want... He pulls back enough to look at me. His eyes are open. Completely, devastatingly open. Tonight I just want this to be real. It is real. Promise me. I promise. He kisses me again. Softer this time. Like a vow. I should be afraid of what he hasn't told me. I should be running calculations, assessing risk, protecting myself. But his hands are in my hair, and his heart is hammering against mine, and the city is burning below us. And all I can think is, I am in so much trouble. The server room is in the sub-basement, level B4. I'm not supposed to have access, but Caleb gave me his master keycard 3 days ago. For emergencies, he said, and the look in his eyes told me he meant, for when you're ready to know. I'm ready. It takes me 20 minutes to find the files. They're buried in a private partition, encrypted, but the password is taped to the underside of the keyboard at the admin terminal because even billionaires are human, and humans are terrible at passwords. What I find turns my blood to ice. The Morrow Foundation, Caleb's charitable arm, the one that funds hospitals and schools and disaster relief, has been used for 3 years as a front for tax fraud. Not by Caleb. By his CFO, David Park, and 2 members of the board. They've been funneling foundation money into shell companies, inflating charitable deductions, skimming millions. Caleb found out 6 months ago. That's what broke him. Not just the fraud, the betrayal. David Park has been his best friend since college. He was the best man at Caleb's wedding. He's Lily's godfather. And for 6 months, Caleb has been quietly building a case against him, gathering evidence, preparing to turn it over to the SEC, knowing that when it goes public, it won't just destroy David, it will destroy the foundation. Every hospital it funded, every school, every program, all of it will be tainted, investigated, frozen, including the grant he promised me. I stand in the server room with the tablet in my hands and I understand everything. Why he brought me close. Why he needed someone he could trust. Why he's been carrying the weight of this alone for 6 months while the world calls him invincible. He's not invincible. He's drowning. You found it. I spin around. He's in the doorway. He looks exhausted. He looks like the man on the rooftop. You knew I would, I say. I hoped you would. You could have just told me. I needed you to see it for yourself. So you'd know I wasn't spinning it. So you'd know the truth. The truth is that your foundation is compromised. The grant you promised me might not survive. And you've been carrying this alone. The truth is that I'm about to blow up my own company to do the right thing. And everyone who depends on me, my employees, my investors, the foundation's recipients, your initiative, everyone is going to get hurt. And I don't know how to do the right thing without destroying everything. I set the tablet down. I walk across the server room. I take his face in my hands. This face that the world thinks is made of stone. This face that I've watched crack and rebuild and crack again. You do it anyway, I say. You do the right thing. And then you rebuild. The grant. We'll find another way. We always find another way. You should be furious with me. I am furious with you. I'm furious and I'm terrified and I'm in love with you. And those things aren't mutually exclusive. He closes his eyes. A tear escapes. Just one, trailing down his cheek and over my thumb. I don't deserve you, he whispers. Probably not, but here I am anyway. He pulls me against him. I press my face into his chest and feel his heartbeat. Fast, scared, alive. And I hold on. We stay like that for a long time. The servers hum around us. The LEDs blink their endless patterns. Somewhere above us, 47 floors of glass and ambition, and everything he built are about to shake to their foundations. When? I ask. Friday. My lawyers are meeting with the SEC at 9 a.m. David doesn't know yet. David, your best friend. My best friend who stole from children's hospitals to fund his vacation homes. Yes. The bitterness in his voice is new. Underneath it, though, I hear something worse. Grief. The kind that comes from losing someone who's still alive. Have you talked to your therapist about this? My therapist said, and I quote, "You need to stop trying to save everyone and let someone save you for once." He pauses. I think she meant you. Your therapist is very presumptuous. She's also annoyingly correct. As established. I almost laugh. Almost. But then I think about Friday, and the cameras, and the congressional hearings, and the look on David Park's face when he realizes what's coming, and the laugh dies before it reaches my mouth. I'll be there, I say. Friday, and every day after that. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. That's the whole point, Caleb. I don't have to be here. I'm choosing to be here. That's what it means when someone... I stop. Take a breath. That's what it means. He kisses the top of my head. That's what it means, he repeats, quiet as a prayer. The fallout is exactly as bad as he predicted. Worse, maybe. The SEC investigation makes national news. David Park is arrested. 2 board members resign. The Morrow Foundation's assets are frozen pending review. Stock prices plummet. Caleb faces congressional testimony. Every magazine that put him on their cover writes think pieces about hubris and accountability. He stands in front of cameras and tells the truth. All of it. He doesn't hide behind lawyers or PR statements. He says, "People I trusted betrayed the mission of this foundation. I take responsibility for not catching it sooner, and I am committed to making it right." I watch from behind the cameras. Diana stands beside me, arms crossed. "He's going to lose half his net worth," she says. "He doesn't care." I know. That's why I'm still here. She glances at me. "And apparently, why you're still here. Was there ever a question? For most people, yes." She pauses. "Not for you." The month ends. My contract expires. The grant, the $500,000, is frozen with the rest of the foundation. "I'll fund it personally," Caleb says. We're in his penthouse. It's emptier than I expected. Minimal furniture, bare walls, except for one framed crayon drawing of a yellow house with a red door. Out of my own accounts. Whatever you need. That's not why I'm here. I know. That's why I'm offering. I take his hand. We'll find another way. Together. He lifts my hand and kisses my knuckles. Together. Epilogue. 8 months later. The Bridgewater Community Center opens on a Saturday in June. It's not fancy. It's a converted warehouse in the neighborhood where it all started. Exposed brick, mismatched furniture, bookshelves donated by the local library, a mural on the back wall painted by the kids that says, "Believe," in letters 6 feet tall. Caleb funded it. Not through the foundation. That's still being restructured under new oversight. He funded it himself, quietly, with no press release and no tax benefit, and no strings attached. Because he said, "Some things you do because they matter, not because they look good on a balance sheet." Lily is here. She's 7 now. She has Caleb's dark eyes and a laugh that could power a city. The custody arrangement changed 3 months ago. He fought for it, just like I told him to. And now she's with him every other week. She calls me Nora with the messy hair, and she's decided that my apartment needs more crayon drawings, and she's not wrong. She's currently leading a group of kids through the new art room, explaining with absolute authority that purple is the best color, and anyone who disagrees is incorrect. Caleb stands beside me in the main hall. He's not wearing a suit. Jeans, rolled sleeves, sneakers. He looks like a different person. He looks like himself. "This is what I was supposed to build," he says, watching the kids. "Not towers, not portfolios. This. You built the towers so you could build this." He looks at me. That look. The one I finally decoded months ago. The one that means I can't believe you're real. Is still there. I don't think it'll ever go away. "Marry me," he says. I turn to look at him. He's watching me with those dark eyes. The ones I first saw on a rooftop, wrecked with grief. The ones I saw through glass walls, guarded and calculating. The ones I saw break open the night he told me about Lily, and crack again when I found the truth in the server room. And finally, settle into something steady the morning after the SEC hearing, when he walked out of the courthouse and found me waiting on the steps. "Marry me," he says again, because apparently I haven't answered, and I'm just standing here staring at him like an idiot. It's not a grand gesture. No ring box, no bended knee. Just 2 words in a warehouse full of kids and donated books and belief. You're proposing in a community center, I say. I'm proposing in the place that matters most to the person who matters most. I look at the mural, at the kids, at Lily, who has somehow gotten purple paint on her forehead and is laughing about it, at this man who knelt on a rooftop because his heart was broken, and let me see it, and let me in, and let me stay. Yes, I say. He doesn't sweep me into a dramatic kiss. He just takes my hand, threads his fingers through mine, and squeezes. And we stand there, in the middle of something we built together. And it feels like every broken thing I've ever carried has been set down. Mara appears beside us with her phone out. I'm live streaming this to my entire contact list. Nobody move. Mara. Caleb Morrow proposed in a warehouse. And I have footage. This is the greatest day of my life. Caleb laughs. That laugh. The one I found on a rooftop. The one the world never gets to hear. Fills the room. Lily runs over and crashes into his legs. Daddy, can I have more purple paint? You're covered in purple paint. I need more. He picks her up. She wraps her arms around his neck and leaves purple handprints on his white t-shirt. He doesn't flinch. I look at them. This man and this girl, both covered in paint, both laughing. And I think about a door I almost didn't open, and a secret I almost didn't keep, and a deal I almost didn't take. Some doors lead to rooftops. Some rooftops lead to the truth. And sometimes the truth, messy, painful, terrifying as it is, leads you exactly where you were always supposed to be. I think about the girl I was 3 months ago, the one carrying trays and counting tips, and lying awake wondering if any of it mattered. I think about the door marked staff only, and the rooftop, and the man on his knees, and the moment I could have turned around, and didn't. I think about all the doors I've opened since. The office, the server room, the one inside myself that I'd sealed shut after years of being too busy surviving to let anyone in. He opened that last one, not with money, not with power, with a child's crayon drawing and a crack in his voice, and the courage to let someone see him fall apart. The kids are singing now. Something Marcus started, off-key and joyful, and loud enough to rattle the donated bookshelves. Lily is leading the chorus. Caleb is pretending to know the words. Mara is filming everything. And I'm standing in the middle of it all, exactly where I'm supposed to be, thinking, this is what it looks like when someone loves you so much it builds something that lasts.